Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor. We're going to be discussing some of the top stories, some of the top articles, the really the big headliners that we've seen this week. Everything from Google and the DOJ antitrust, how that breakup can potentially work. We're going to talk about the ongoing disaster. Godspeed to the two astronauts in the ISS right now, with Boeing's capsule not able to disengage due to some leakage issues and some overall just problems there. It's going to be really bad that if SpaceX needs to come up and save them, which I'm sure Elon and team is ready to do. We're going to talk about a lot of the positivity that we're seeing, especially with Palantir, PLTR, with the new earnings this past Monday, having a large increase in their overall government contracts, and that has really propelled the stock higher. A lot of folks on social media and everything are really gun ho about that. We're talking about Taiwanese semiconductor manufacturing, or TSM, on how important that role is in overall in the economy. We're going to talk about the economy as well, looking at the overall performance. Particularly, we're going to be looking at Walmart. Walmart had a great earnings this week as well, with boosting sales, continues revenue growth month over month. We'll hear directly from the CEO from that. We're going to be also looking at a clip of some more popular positionings within Pershing Square. Pershing Square, run by Bill Ackman, started a position at their last 13F filings within Nike. That thing's kind of been very much beaten up and beaten down, maybe bottom fishing and getting involved on that. It's only a 2% of his overall portfolio, so nothing too large to speak about. At the headline, too, Berkshire Hathaway reducing their Apple overall position by 49.67 or whatever percent it was, a significant amount, opening up cash flow, opening up the overall worry of, are we in a recession? Is Apple going to doom? Are they getting a cash pile to weather the ongoing depression or whatever? All this stuff that's going to be happening on that, and then we can talk about the crazy story of the new CEO of Starbucks coming in and basically adding like 20 billion of market value by just starting at the company. So we'll look at both of those stocks as well. So let's go ahead and cut right into it. We're going to start here very first off with Apple. We did talk about Berkshire Hathaway, aka Warren Buffett, reducing substantially amount of their stock. We see that coming in, playing out. This was also in the lieu with the overall market turmoil that we saw again with the Nasdaq going down about 16, nearly 17%. We're bouncing off this beautiful purple trend line, which has no significant meaning at all. I drew that there. I have some magical power sometimes, and I told it to bounce off of that. So this is again coming out. We have the very large earnings cycles coming up regarding the newer iPhones. Is there Apple Intelligence going to be involved? How that's going to look? And really, a lot of the hedgies and fund managers and really the big whales in the market are getting really juicy with this because that potential of increased revenue, increase of a new product cycle, especially in tech and in these larger companies, these product cycles are huge, and that could be that you can ride that wave basically for like 18 months to 2 years, depending on how it rolls out and how of the overall people take share of that. Let's go ahead and just jump into PLTR as well. So PLTR had earnings this week. Oh, PLTR. This thing has been performing extremely well. Again, the beautiful purple line, as you see, that I have drawn for you. It's basically, this is on the weekly side. We're holding the 50 SMA here, which is the golden line, and the blue dots is the 10. Simple moving average, that is. So breaking out to all-time highs, if we go further out, this is very getting interesting. This is getting past once it gets past these levels of basically above 30, which was a very significant level. It's like that IPO kind of base, and it's where it really never really got anything from it. It had that IPO breakout and just huge ramp up. That being said, this thing could definitely still using run. It's definitely proven itself as a company. Alex Karp is doing a fantastic job over there, and really utilizing the AI, getting it right into the government's hands. And we know how the government likes to spend, so fantastic potential growth and revenue there with their technology. At the same time, we're seeing this again, that 35-ish level. The all-time high is basically at $45. That was way back when in like, yeah, January of 2020. So that was like before you know what happened. That was also in lieu of some other things, if you remember right. That was the short seller Andrew Lift, what his name is, went pretty aggressive on this stock as well, on shorting it, and we saw that really kind of come through in like the December timeframe of 2020. Anywho, on that, we'll go ahead and jump into some other things. We have Google. Google is in a little bit of a little trouble here. Let me zoom this back into 3-year weekly chart. We've seen this little potential yellow line again. I'm fantastic at drawing lines that have no significant meaning at all. So this is especially coming into this level here, potentially. But let me give it more of a dramatic sense to this. If we go into like the daily side, this thing is pretty beaten up. Is it going to be potentially trying to break out here? Maybe so. Usually when the DOJ knocks on the door and is talking about investigating and antitrust and breaking up companies, and it's a lot of speculation right now. There's nothing for sure about anything, but just being heads up about things is very important, and being mindful of like what potentially could come, aka the risk. Going back to talking about a risk, we can look at CrowdStrike. It's trying to make a comeback. I think it's still somewhat dead in the water here. It's somewhat tainted, as some people have said. That made a good point. It's tainted. Again, speaking of the DOJ and everything, the CEO was called to Congress and had to testify and all this stuff. Like, there's going to be legal action, and like, I know a little bit about cybersecurity insurance companies. That insurance company is freaking out right now of like how much they're gonna have to pay to customers and pay out on potentially suits and so forth, and settling and so forth. Speaking about of another disaster, we can talk about BA. I hope you like my transitions. BA, because Boeing, this thing has not seen much action in a long time. It was a market darling for many years on its high growth and just its overall ingenuity and so forth. Due to the plane, the MAX, due to the shuttle stuff now, the capsule, this thing is just not performing well. It's well below key levels. It's just kind of just cracking away at this base. The overall market is just not feeling it. It doesn't have a good vibe, as the kids say, about it, and I don't see any ongoing potentials here that could be ringing it forth. Let's go ahead and actually jump into some clips from CNBC. We're going to be talking about Walmart as the very first one. So jumping into Walmart, Walmart has been performing. Look at this, like, this is Walmart, folks. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is the company that is a grocery store, but also technology, and it sells basically everything. Compare this to like Target. What do you see? One's in an uptrend, one is just flat and down. So it's very key on who's performing and the management in place. This thing is going gangbusters, as they say, making all-time highs. Look at this. We can go back 20 years. Look at this. This thing is just breaking out. We had a beautiful little like Darvis box here, basically above like 54, 55, and it's just going off to the races here. So this thing could run for some time. It's not a Nvidia, it's not a Meta, it's Walmart. So it's basically something that is, I would say, knock on wood, recession proof. But let's go ahead and jump into the clip here. Let me get this up and running for everyone. We're going to go here and then boom, boom. There we go.
Sir John David Rainey, who told me that Walmart has not seen a change in shopping trends. He said every month of the quarter was relatively consistent. He said, "We see among our members and customers that they remain choiceful, discerning, value-seeking, focusing on things like essentials rather than discretionary items. But importantly, we don't see any additional fraying of consumer health."
That's good.
It also saw strength across stores, clubs, and its website, notably with U.S. e-commerce sales growing 22%. And he said Walmart saw another promising sign. Sales of general merchandise, that's the stuff that's outside of its grocery department, was positive for the first time in 11 quarters, Mike.
Wow. So that's impressive, right? That is significant on that front. So there's another one we wanted to watch as well. As we're going to be talking about Pershing Square, and then we'll jump back to the charts here.
Other noteworthy moves: Berkshire decreased its stake in Capital One, T-Mobile, and it dissolved its stake in Snowflake.
Dissolved its stake in Snowflake. So Snowflake was that market darling. I remember I was streaming at the time, the IPO. It was crazy. It was going to like $400. Everyone in CNBC was pounding the desk like buy, buy, buy. It basically was priced at like 120 or something like that. And it ran up. Maybe it was like 200. I can't remember. We'll look at the chart. But it just went gangbusters, and it just never really went anywhere after that. It was just a beautiful story, but there was no what's a good expression? There was no pep in their step. It was just a lot of flop.
Cloud computing company. Cosmetic maker Ulta stock got a boost after a small new position.
This is my wife's
from Ulta.
stock.
There you can see the move. And Pershing Square made some moves in the consumer discretionary space as well. Bill Ackman's fund revealed a new stake in Nike. It bought 3 million shares in the quarter, but disclosed small decreases in Chipotle.
And so forth. So actually, a last story we want to look at is the Starbucks story. We have the Starbucks CEO being kicked out after, I think, 16 months or something like that. And then Brian Niccol coming in to take over. He was also, I believe, the CEO or one of the lead C-suite folks at Taco Bell. Of course, he went from Taco Bell to Chipotle, now Chipotle to Starbucks. And there's a lot of interesting stuff regarding on what the overall game plan is. How are they going to continue to diversify? They're seeing a lot of decline. Starbucks is on same-store sales. If your coffee costs $6 and a muffin costs $4, like with the higher rates of inflation, how do they can stay competitive? They have a very crazy amount of complexity around their drink orders, and it's not very streamlined. And I think that a lot of people are saying, and I agree, is that Brian's got to come in and just make the process very smooth and just make it very repeatable. That could be cutting on some things like that. I'm not the biggest fan of Starbucks. I think it's fine. I'm not the crazy coffee guru as a lot of other people. But we can jump back into the charts here and looking at first Walmart. Again, this thing is absolutely fantastic. We wanted to talk about snow, so we wanted to look at the details of that. So this thing, we go back further. It must have been 5 years. Maybe was it longer than that? It can't be 5 years. Yeah, here it is. The IPO price. Maybe did they have a split? This doesn't make sense. Basically, yeah, came out. I think it was like 120 or something like that. What is the? Let me Google this real quick. What was Snow's IPO price? I think it was 100 or something like that. Yeah, it was Snowflakes. I had an IPO price of 120 per share in 2020, but the first day of trading, the stock opened up $245 per share and closed at almost $254 per share. Basically a 110% plus move on that. So, and now where is it? It is pretty beat down. Like it's basically at its IPO price. Like, not great, right? Yeah, nothing really to add there. We're gonna go to Pershing Square's Nike. Speaking of something that's been beaten down as well, look at this thing. This thing has not been performing well. I'm gonna show you live on how to draw a trend line. So you find a peak here, and you just kind of run it down like this. Look at that. That looks like it's going down. and this, if this can break out and really get above this level and get some volume behind it, that could be significant. I don't think Nike's going anywhere. I believe, like a lot of people have looked at, you have On, you have Hoka, you have all these other brands, Lululemon, that are taking market share away from Nike. And Nike has a great brand, but it just needs to figure out that loyalty part and so forth. So we have Lulu there. We have On Holdings, which is looking at, it might be breaking out here actually around 43 plus. Again, that's going to be a fantastic move for them, and seeing that potentially play out. Next one we wanted to look at was, of course, Starbucks. SOB, there we go. Again, when the CEO gets kicked out and the new one joins, look at that beautiful green candle. But let's go to like a, oops, I wanted to go a little bit longer, like a 5-year. Here we can, I'm gonna, again, this is another treat here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm drawing another trend line for you. There's nothing, I'm not in love with that one. Let's do another one here on potentially writing this down right here. So this is nothing to really write home about. It's just coming into that previous trend line. Again, I don't make these lines up. The lines draw themselves, and I'm just here to make them look pretty. So this is still on a downward trend, but this is a great move and a positive move. Maybe we can create a flag pattern, or like what basically means some very tight actions for a couple days, and maybe see another breakout if we start seeing Brian with some really interesting policy changes and or ongoing improvements, because we saw Subway have that emergency meeting as well, and they're making some more larger value meals there as well. So on the flip side, you had Starbucks going up, and now we have CMG slightly going down. It's still a very well performing stock. It's holding the 50 here on the weekly side. It is, again, wasn't a beautiful uptrend, and it's kind of broke with the overall market. This thing has been split so many times, and there is that ongoing concern. It is beaten down, and it's maybe some kind of like some, if you want to do bottom fishing here, and seeing if this could get a bounce like Nike. I think this is performing better than Nike on the trend side and the overall technical side. Nike is going to be a pretty large turnaround, and CMG or Chipotle has to create that value menu as well. Again, you see a lot of things, especially on Reddit and X, of people showing how small their Chipotle order was. And I think they're also getting competition from like Sweet Green. So Sweet Green is here in the DC area. Starting in the DC area, is basically a salad bar, but they're going to be adding robots to their salad bars, so it cuts labor. That, of course, increases profits, but doesn't. I'm a little mixed on that as well, but that's fine. This is coming out to breaking, and then we also have Kava, which is the Mediterranean kind of competitor to them as well. So we see some ongoing purchasing here. You see on some of my accounts, we have that running. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I greatly appreciate everyone for stopping by and looking at this fantastic content that I'm creating here. I greatly appreciate it. If you made it this far, if you haven't already, please give me a like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. I want to create more of this stuff. If you want more commentary on things, please leave it down in the description and so forth. Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.